Hi,
Hey,
how are you?
good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for willing to do this.
I'm sorry I was like, what, 5 minutes late?
You're fine. So I could just jump around with your career before getting to Genshin.
Yeah.
So first thing I'm gonna ask, are you originally from California?
No. So I am an army brat. Um, like the military has been a part of my life, shoot, since I was like a baby. So I've lived overseas. I've lived in South Carolina. I lived in Florida. I lived in Arizona. So I'm a transplant.
hmm Well, based off reading your bio, it does sound like acting was always what you wanted to do.
Yeah, so I got into musical theater when I was a little kid and did like just little fun plays, plays for church, plays for the school, plays for just a local community. And musical theater was kind of like my gateway into this industry. It got to the point where I was good enough to get a scholarship to a really great school in New York. But life happens. I was an army brat. That was like during the time where we were at war, so dad was gone for like 15 months at a time. And it was just, I didn't believe enough in myself as like a young kid. And, back then acting didn't have the perspective that we have now to where it's like, oh yeah, you can do it. It's just like, maybe you should probably go to college. You know what I mean? So I mean, I was good enough then, and then life happened, and then years went on, and I was like, well, dang, shoot, I was good enough to get a scholarship to one of the best schools. I'm obviously good enough to do this, and here I am.
How long have you been based in LA then?
Um, I've been here, and I'm actually in San Diego, which
Okay.
is, I mean, fresh air, ocean, green hills. But I've been here for about 5 years.
Okay. And do you have a special, assuming you're in SAG, do you have a special SAG story?
Uh, let's see. So, The Nutty Boy, which just came out on Netflix, was my must join. I was kind of trying to ride that wave for as long as I could. Um, which surprisingly, almost all the really big stuff, like commercially, like I was the face of Ring at one point internationally. I was on a box. They were using me for Amazon. I was everywhere, and that was non-union, which is like you'd be surprised, right? Like some of the biggest stuff is non-union. So I was kind of riding that wave, for a little bit until it was like I got a letter in the mail, and the Nutty Boy was like, "Hey, you kind of got to join now." And I was like, "You're worth it. You're worth it."
Yeah. And do you still pursue live action as much as voiceover, or do you have a more preference now?
So voiceovers kind of spoiled me because I don't have to look good all the time. I can wear my PJs and record, or just go down there in the comfiest. Like I wear Crocs in the studio. Like if I have to go into the studio, I have studio Crocs. Um, Live action, you got to learn lines. You got to look your best. So I'm kind of spoiled. I kind of prefer it just because it's the ease of it all. But that was my first love, and I I focused on voiceover during the pandemic, but now I'm trying to be like, okay, well, this is kind of like a well-oiled machine. So let's pivot back. And I'm slowly trying to get back into the swing of things when it comes to like on camera.
hmm And in terms of voiceover, have you gotten the case to alter your voice really significantly for anything yet?
I feel like everything I book is nothing that is on my demo. And I'm like, well, maybe I should get another one.
Yeah.
I did a game called Catalyst Wake, which is on Steam, and I play a villain. I play one of the main anti-hero villains, and Nihility. And she was, I mean, I I don't think anyone knew that I could do that voice. Because she talks like this all the time. And I don't have that anywhere. And so I'm just like, well, dang, I'm booking things that I don't kind of showcase. So maybe I should change that.
Yeah. And one thing I always like to ask voice actresses that also do boy voices, if you do, like if you have a process for that.
Boy voices are kind of easy. I I mean, funny story. I actually have a lisp that doesn't come out all the time because I kind of corrected my speech somewhat. If I'm really tired, my lisp comes out. But when I do boy voices, I kind of just tap into that. So, sometimes I just talk like this, and then I have a little lisp. And then it's like, he's a really spunky boy that just kind of wants to, I don't know, maybe get into some dirt and stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like, for me, the lisp is my gateway into little boy, spunky little boy.
Okay. And do you think that you have a preference for working on more dramatic stuff over comedic, or
I kind of prefer more comedic just because I feel like I really get to use my acting chops, because with comedic, it's like you gotta do timing, because comedy comes in threes. You gotta focus on your timing, you gotta focus on like delivery, tone. There's a lot more that goes into it. Whereas, dramatic things, especially with like live dubs, it's kind of just sometimes it feels kind of one tone, but very emotional. But because you're not focusing so much on, oh, do I have to change my voice? Do I have to do this? It's a little easier to tap into those aspects versus, comedic animation. You have a lot of different things that you have to use in your wheelhouse.
Mhm. What do you think the darkest headspace you've had to go for voiceover is, if there is one?
I so funny thing, I'm trained in method acting. So I know all the crazy, I've been in those classes to where it was like, okay, this is your character. Now you're going to spend 2 hours to go out into the city and act like your character. Where they had to play somebody who was homeless. They would go and sit with like a homeless person, sit with the homeless community. And sometimes that's a lot, every method doesn't work for everybody. I try not to put myself in the position of the character because at the end of the day, it's not me. And sometimes when we focus so much on, oh, well, Ashely would do this, or this happened in Ashely's life, it's like we're putting ourselves in that equation. And to me, I feel like I don't give authentic performances because it's not about me. It's about whoever the character is, right? So for me, it's more so I focus on the scene study and it's like, okay, well, what is this character going through? What is their personality? What's their backstory? Who are they talking to? What's that relationship like? And that actually helps me get into the perspective of what the character's feeling versus how does this make Ashely feel? Because Ashely's feelings aren't authentic to the character.
Yeah. Did you find it easy to personally relate to Layla?
Yeah, because your girl's not sleeping. I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, wow, when art imitates life. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I was like, well, I was sleeping, but I've been staying up late. But yeah, she was a complex character. But apparently I've been seeing that a lot of people relate to her. And I'm like, you poor things. Go to sleep. You're doing your best.
Yeah. Was that a pretty general audition when that came through?
So I got that audition through my agent, and I've auditioned for Genshin before, uh, but sometimes it can be a lot because you know what it is, right? And so it's like, oh my god, like I gotta analyze this. I gotta do this and this because I've played this game since beta. Um, so sometimes it's a lot. It's overwhelming, especially when you get auditions for stuff that you love and you want to be a part of. But I think for Layla, I think what did it for me is that I didn't read too much into it. I was like, well, this is like what, the sixth one? And I'm like, I'm looking at her, I'm looking at the specs. All I need to know is her personality, what she like, and let's just go for it. And it worked. And I was like, see, less is more. Sometimes less is always more. But she's so complex of a character.
What were the processes of developing what you did for her vocally then?
Ooh, so Layla was actually one of the hardest characters I've ever done. And that was because she was so complex. It's like she is a stressed out college student, essentially. She's young. She's young. She's around like the teenage years. But it was like we can't make her sound too monotone to where she sounds like Chi Chi. We can't make her sound we want her to sound tired, but not too tired. We want her to sound stressed, but not too stressed. Add elements of a whine in there sometimes. We need her to be young sounding. And then it was like, oh, but then she has that part of her to where she's sleepwalking. So what does that sound like? So it was like there was a lot of ebbs and flows to her because you don't want her to sound similar, but then you want to add the little bits of anxiety, stress, tired, but not too much, you know. So she was tough. I will say that she's probably one of the toughest characters I've had to tackle.
Hmm. And did you have or do you have like a default line to get into her headspace?
I'm trying to think. I think one of her lines that they showcased was, every time we're looking up at the stars, they're always there. You know, so it's like go into that breathiness because that triggers the sleepiness, and then after that, it's like okay, keep that, but then dial back the sleepiness while she's just talking to someone. You know, she's tired, but then we're gonna add a little bit of the anxiety. Let's drizzle some anxiousness in there. But
Hmm.
that's usually the go-to line. But oh my god, bless them. We did so many. Every time I went in, I was like, I need a vocal ref. I need a vocal ref. What did I sound like the other day? Because I was like, I don't know what I did the other day. Can you play that back? Can you play that back?
Is the one that you just did your favorite line too, or do you have a favorite line?
No, I have a favorite line. I don't want to say because I don't know if they kept it in there. Um, there is one though. There is a friendship line that she has with Sino, and it's really funny just because of the context and what she says about him. But I won't spoil anything. So get your friendship levels up and then you'll see.
Well, as far as what we do know about her, what are your thoughts on her relationships with other characters then?
Oh, I love her relationship with Candace for sure because, you know, from what we know, from what was shared, when she was going through her sleepwalking fit, where she becomes a genius and confident and just does everything, she climbed the walls of the city, which is pretty interesting, and bumped into Candace. And the interaction that they have, I'm sure you'll see more of in those friendship lines. When she wakes up, she thinks it was a dream. She thinks she dreamed this person. This person was so kind. This person was amazing, but she thinks it's like somebody from the stars. You know what I mean? So I would love to see more of the Candace dynamic. And I know people are eating it up. Um, in terms of other people, she has a relationship. She has a very interesting relationship with, you know, Dory, which we'll see. And Dory's she's a funny character. And Sino, but you know, I don't want to say too much. But yeah, so far from what we know, I think her relationship with Candace is my fave.
Okay.
And I'm not being biased because I love Shara, but the Candace relationship is my fave so far.
Well, since you played the game for so long, what other character or characters do you think that you relate the most to besides Layla?
Ooh. So I main Zhongli, and that's because Zhongli is just so freaking cute, but she loves to cook, and I love to cook. Who else do I relate to? I relate to dang, I think Zhongling. I think Zhongling is the main one. She's just so cute and bubbly, and mm, now you got me thinking. That was a good question. Now you got the wheels in my head like, who do I relate to? Probably I like Yelan. Yeah, Yelan. I think so. Cause she kind of just does whatever she wants. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, mm, yeah, I'm here and I try my best to be that way to where it's kind of like I'm there but not there at the same time. But now I can't be, you know, with this new fandom that has been blessed and bestowed upon me. So I was like, well, I guess no more hiding in the shadows. But yeah, so I would say Zhangling and Yellen.
Okay. Well, speaking of that, were you already friends with any of the other cast members?
So I was already friends with Shara. Um, Erica, I've met. Um, I want to say that's it. I want to say that's it. I've met a couple of them, but like have a personal relationship. It would be Erica, who's the voice of Venti, and then Shara, who's the voice of Candace.
You're right. It is great too that with all the Sumeru characters so far that they're either all people of color or people that are of that heritage.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's fan freaking tastic. So I'm excited to see who else they add because I mean, kind of got the I don't want to be biased, but you kind of got the best lineup so far,
Yeah.
Sumeru squad. But yeah, I think especially for kids, because I know it's a lot of young people that play this game, to be a part of a community that so often never saw themselves in media or saw people who looked like them doing things in the media that they love. I think it's just, I don't know, it's powerful. And that's why I do this, is so that a little girl that looks like me can see herself doing this as well.
Hmm. Were you back to Layla, were you expecting her to have the weapon that she has?
No, no, I was not. I was like, oh, she's a catalyst user. It makes sense, right? She's a catalyst user. And they were like, nope, she's a sword. And I was like, what? But her sword animations are freaking adorable. Her eyes are closed. She looks scared to swing it. She's bouncy. She grabs it with like two hands at one point. And I'm like, okay, you're cute. Like you're freaking adorable. Like, okay, you can use the sword. You can swing the sword.
Yeah. What are you hoping to see for her character, do you think?
So I'm really excited for the fungus frenzy event because that's going to be super fun. It's such a random event, but it's like it's super crazy. I'm excited to see more of her studying at the academia. We've touched on it a little bit in the story, but there's so much more that goes into it. And like I said, she's a genius. So it's like, why is she working so hard? I'm curious to see what they add to her story because, like I said, she's a stressed out college student. She's trying her best. She feels like she's putting her heart and soul into her studies, but it's like, why?
Hmm.
And she's an elf. She's an elf, and the only other elf we've seen is Klee
Yep.
and Nahida, but Nahida is a god. So it's just Klee and Layla. So it's like, they're both elves. So where do they come from? So it's like, okay, I think there's going to be a bit of an expansion on that part.
Yeah. Are most of your personal favorite characters from Liyue or like a mix of all four regions?
Oh, they're a mix. I like all the cuties. I'm a I'm a cutie squad all the way. I think, like I said, Ling's my favorite. I have a lot of Inazuma. Inazuma is also a fave. Yae Miko is a fave. Ayaka's a fave. Kokomi's a fave. And then Kale's so freaking cute. And then, I mean, Candace. I mean, who could be crazy not to like Candace? And then Yelan is just a hottie. So yeah, I'm kind of biased. I like all the cuties. I like all the cuties.
Hmm.
The guys got to step their game up. They got to step their game up.
Are you planning on, this is obvious, but are you planning on maining Layla when she comes out?
Oh, 100%. Would I be a true Layla actor if I didn't name her?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. She's about to be stacked. Like, she's going to be, I mean, well, hopefully C6 Layla. C6 Layla, she's going to have like all the best artifacts, maxed out weapon. She's going to be, you know, Raiden's going to be Raiden's gonna be scared. Raiden's gonna be shaking her boots when Layla comes a running.
In terms of upcoming characters, who are you also the most excited for?
Ooh, and upcoming characters? Well, there's been some leaks I know we've seen. And like I said, the guys got to step their game up. But there's one guy in particular who's kind of like, okay, you're kind of different. But the Fatui, whoa, I was like, you guys were in your bag making the Harbingers. I mean, Pantalone? Pantalone? I'm a fan. I am a fan of Pantalone. Oh, yeah, I'm ready for them. I was like, I'd let you win. I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to fight you because you're too pretty. So game over for me, I guess.
Yeah. And you mentioned, I think you're the first cast member I've talked to who had played the game since beta. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I've played the game, and you never think when you're playing something, oh, I'm gonna be in this, or oh, I want to be in this. I never play stuff to where I'm like, yeah, I want to be in this so bad. And then when I realized that people were actually being in it, and I was like, oh, this is kind of attainable. And then, I have some friends that were like, oh, you well, I'm not going to play the game till I'm in it. I'm not going to play it till I'm in it. And I'm like, well, that kind of doesn't make sense because why wouldn't you support the thing you want to be in? I've given it enough of my money. So yeah, Layla was such a surprise. I think when my agents told me that I booked it, I kind of shot out of bed and was just like, whoa, like what? Like, whoa. My head was like spinning. And I think my email wasn't coherent and it was like all caps. And I was like, whoa, I love this game. Oh my God. And then it was like that whole week before I recorded, I was just like, it didn't feel real. And I was just like, am I really doing it? Are they gonna, email me back and be like, well, we thought, we'll get them next time. And so the whole week I was just like, is this real? And I literally had to make my booking email, like my phone screensaver to remind me, like, no, that's real. That's real. You really are her. And I was like, oh God, but what if they email me and they say, Groundhog's Day, April Fools? I was like, oh, but it's real now.
Yeah. I think it's I guess you could argue either way, but I think it's a pretty good thing too that Genshin isn't union because it gives a lot of people a chance to be part of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, Christina Costello and Elia Gandhi, like we didn't know who they were. And then boom, they booked Genshin. And it's like that alone opens the door to so many other people who are talented, but just need a shot.
Yeah.
That's literally all it is. I can't tell you how many people I've met that are just insanely talented, but they just need a shot. And I think Genshin is showing that it doesn't matter where you're at in the world. It doesn't matter your union status. It doesn't matter what agency you're with. If you're talented or if you fit the character, you can book it.
Hmm.
So it's like it creates hope for all the up and coming actors or actors who are just working their butts off and just waiting for that moment. And it's like, no, it's coming. Like it'll come. It'll come.
Hmm. Was this also one of your first dubbing experiences, or had you dubbed a lot of stuff before?
No, I've dubbed um live dub queen over here. I do a lot of live action dubs.
Okay.
Um yeah, I've done quite a bit of live action dubs, some animated dubs. But this was my first dubbing for a video game. First one, but not the last.
Yeah. Have you had many anime experiences yet?
A couple. I've had a couple. They're not out yet.
Oh.
So knock on wood soon. Yeah, knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Is there like a big legacy anime or anime game series that you hope to be part of?
If I could sell an organ to be in anything in the Tales series or even just anything Square Enix, I can't even say Final Fantasy. I play Final Fantasy 14, hence the poster.
Yeah.
I'm a super nerd over here, super nerd over here. But I'll what foot do you want? You know what I mean? It's at that point. Like what toe should I sacrifice? I love the Tales series. I think the first Tales game I played was Tales of Symphonia, like back on GameCube, and I've replayed that a million times. And then from then, I've played every single Tales game. And then I've been a Square fan forever. Every Final Fantasy IP, and then along with just the other games that they have. But those two are probably, I'd risk it all. I'd risk it all.
Yeah. What about Fire Emblem stuff?
Ooh, Fire Emblem. So I've never really played Fire Emblem. But Fire Emblem has a huge fandom. I would love to be in it. I would love to be in it. I think because you brought it in, everything happens for a reason. I'm gonna have to play it. You brought it up. I'm gonna have to play it now. Yeah, I'm gonna have to play it. I'm gonna have to play it. Yeah, the new one looks fantastic. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna play that, but I need time. but I'll make time.
Hmm.
I'll make time.
What kind of anime stuff do you have on that shelf that's to the right of me, but on yeah.
So I have my Squirtle. I have a Squirtle because that's the best starter, no matter what anyone says. I have a life-size Squirtle plush, some Pokeballs, and then I have a muscle Squirtle. That's really funny. It's
Oh.
like a Squirtle lifting weights. And then this shelf is a ton of Dragon Ball Z stuff. I have some One Punch Man stuff. This one is like my pink unicorn because I love unicorns and I love pink. And then I have a Sephiroth. Oh my gosh, love him. Like risk it all. Talk about risk it all. I have a Sephiroth huge what is that? Oh, a action figure. Then I have some Digimon plushes and then yeah, you can't see it. But and then I have this one
Oh, yeah.
and so the huge Sailor Moon, she is in front of my Sailor Moon shrine because Sailor Moon is I love her. She was my gateway into this entire thing. And then I have me, of course, I'm on a box for Ring. You know, it's kind of a flex for me. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I'm just as much of a fan of Sailor Moon as you are. I have
Oh
Haru.
my God, bless you. That's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's beautiful. This interview was destiny. I have a huge poster right here. I've got Sailor Moon custom water bottle.
Uh,
Like, yeah, obsessed, obsessed,
yeah.
obsessed.
So is there anything that you want to say to the Layla community?
Oh, bless you guys. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for the love that you guys have given me. I can't tell you how I've never heard such nice things said about me by strangers, you know, and they are so kind. And I am trying my best to respond to every single one of you whenever you guys say something. I know at one point I won't be able to, but while I can, I will. It's only fair. You know, I give the energy, I give back what I'm given. So if you all are showing me such immense love, then I'm going to do the same. So please talk to me. I really want to talk to you guys. And thank you so much for just loving Layla. My biggest fear doing her was that I know what it's like to be a part of a fandom that you just love, you know, immensely the game or the genre. And there have been times where stuff has come out and I was just like, I wouldn't have went that route, you know, with how they sound or character design. And so my biggest fear, the anxiety I felt doing her, you know, especially with her being, you know, we had to, you know, don't make her sound like this, make her sound like that. She needs to be this way. My biggest fear was that I just wanted the fans to love her as much as I did. I wanted to do justice by you all as the fans. I didn't want to give you something that you weren't happy with. I wanted at the end of the day, you can't please everyone, right?
Hmm.
So I knew that there would be some people that didn't like her voice. That's fair. You know, you can't please everybody. But if I just had a couple people that appreciated, you know, the work that it took to get her to life, that was my goal. And, you know, before they even announced her or showed her voice lines, every day I was just like, I hope they love her. I hope they love her. You know, I just want to do right by you all. And with everything that I do, I look at it through the lens of a fan. You know, what's it like to love something so much and um, get a piece of media that you appreciate. So for those of you that love her and are happy with what we did, I thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And like I said, please talk to me. I want to meet all of you. I want to talk to all of you. I want to give you love like you're giving me love.
And then my final question is always asking, what do you want your legacy to be?
What do I want my legacy to be? I want my legacy to be that um, she kicked down doors and she took no names, basically. I want to pave the way for other women of color. I want to pave the way for women, generally speaking, to be in high places. I want to show the world that we're just as valuable, we're just as talented. Um, we should be making decisions. We can make decisions, smart decisions. And I want it to be to where whenever a little girl, looks at what I've done, they can say, oh, I can do that too.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that we got to do this.
No, thanks for having me. And first of all, your voice is fantastic. So
Oh, thank you.
yeah, your voice is fantastic. But no, thanks so much for having me. And thank you, Layla community. I appreciate you guys so much.
Well, I'll be sure to send this to you once I have it up.
I'm excited. Thanks so much, Chris.
Yeah, have a good rest of your day then.
You too. Bye.
Bye.